Hello students, welcome to your favorite channel English Learning Assam. Today I start the very important question paper solution of your English textbook Vistas chapter on the face of it, which is written by Susan Hill. মৰমৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকল, তোমালোকৰ অহা এইচএছ ফাইনেল এক্সামিনেশ্যনৰ প্ৰস্তুতি হকে আজি মই তোমালোকৰ ইংলিছৰ ৰেপিড ৰিডাৰ ভিস্টাছৰ পৰা চেপ্টাৰ 3 অন দ্য ফেচ অফ ইট যিটো সুসান হিলে লিখিছে তাৰ পৰা 19টা শৰ্ট আৰু লং কোশ্চিন মিলাই আলোচনা কৰিম। আশা কৰিম এই 19টা কোশ্চিনে তোমালোকৰ অহা পৰীক্ষাসমূহত সহায় কৰিব। বলাচোন মৰমৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকল, আজিৰ ভিডিঅ'ৰ মূল বিষয়বস্তুলৈ যাওঁ। এই ভিডিঅ'ৰ মূল বিষয়বস্তু যোৱাৰ আগতে মই তোমালোকক জনাই থওঁ যে ইতিমধ্যে মোৰ চেনেল ইংলিছ লাৰ্ণিং আছামত তোমালোকৰ আগত দ্য টাইগাৰ কিং, মেমৰিজ অফ চাইল্ডহুড আৰু মাঘ বিহু বা মাঘৰ দমাহী এই চেপ্টাৰ 3টা পুংখানুপুংখৰূপে আলোচনা কৰা হৈছে। যদি কোনোবা মৰমৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰী পোৱা নাই তেতিয়াহ'লে তোমালোকে চেনেলটো ছাবস্ক্ৰাইব কৰি লৈ চেপ্টাৰকেইটা চাবা, নিশ্চয় সেইখিনিয়েও তোমালোকক অহা পৰীক্ষাত সহায় কৰিব। কোশ্চিন নম্বৰ 1, হোৱাই এণ্ড হাউ ডিড ডেৰী এণ্টাৰ মিষ্টাৰ লেম্বছ গাৰ্ডেন? কোশ্চিনটোত কোৱা হৈছে হোৱাই এণ্ড হাউ ডিড ডেৰী এণ্টাৰ ইন মিষ্টাৰ লেম্বছ গাৰ্ডেন। কোশ্চিনটোত কোৱা হৈছে যে ডেৰীয়ে কেনেকৈ, কিয় আৰু কেনেকৈ মিষ্টাৰ লেমৰ গাৰ্ডেনত সোমাইছিল। আনচাৰ: ডেৰী ৱাজ এ য়াং 14-year-old boy. He entered Mr. Lamb's garden by climbing over the wall because he thought that the garden was an empty place and wanted to spend some time alone away from people's unnecessary comments and his miserable plight. Question 2, why are not there any curtains at the windows of Mr. Lamb's house? Mr. লেমৰ খিৰিকীত কিয় কোনো ধৰণৰ পৰ্দা নাছিল? আনচাৰ: there are no curtains at the windows of Mr. Lamb's house. He feels that curtains shut out the beauty of nature and prevent him from enjoying the sunlight and the sound of wind. এতিয়া কোশ্চিন নম্বৰ 3 লৈ আহা। Why does Derry go back to Mr. Lamb in the end? কিয় ডেৰীয়ে শেষত মিষ্টাৰ লেম্বলৈ আকৌ উভতি গৈছিল? আনচাৰ: ডেৰী goes back to Mr. Lamb because he has realized that Mr. Lamb is the only man who has helped him to throw off his inferiority complex. He wants to listen to the old man's strong views. Moreover, he feels that he does not go back, he will never be able to face the world confidently. Now come to question number 4. Question number 4ত কোৱা হৈছে though both Mr. Lamb and Derry suffer from physical disability, their attitude to life is different. Justify the relevance of the statement with reference to the story. এটা লং কোশ্চিন। ইয়াতে যদিও মিষ্টাৰ লেম্ব আৰু ডেৰী কি ফিজিকেল ডিচেবিলিটি আছিল, মানে পংগু আছিল, খোৰা আছিল বা ফিজিকেল ডিচেবিলিটি আছিল, দেয়াৰ এটিচিউড টু লাইফ ইজ ডিফাৰেণ্ট। সিহঁতৰ জীৱনৰ প্ৰতি যিটো এটিচিউড সেইটো কি বেলেগ ধৰণৰ আছিল। জাষ্টিফাই দ্য ৰিলেভেঞ্চ অফ দ্য ষ্টেটমেণ্ট উইথ ৰিফাৰেঞ্চ টু দ্য ষ্টৰি। ষ্টৰি মতে তোমাৰ এই বাক্যটো জাষ্টিফাই কৰিব দিছে, যুক্তিসহ বৰ্ণনা কৰিব দিছে। আনসাৰ লৈ আহা। Both Mr. Lamb and Derry suffer from physical disability. Their attitude to life is totally different. Half of Derry's face is burned because of acid which had fallen on him. It has created an inferiority complex in the young boy who knows that people are horrified to see his face and pass uncharitable comments. Even his mother kisses him on the unburned side of his cheek. All these have made Derry withdrawn and defiant. Derry's meeting with Mr. Lamb brings about a nice change in his attitude. He sees that Mr. Lamb, in spite of being handicapped like him, he has very positive attitude towards life. He does not shy away from people, rather he likes to have company, and he has never deferred the adverse comments that people make about his thin leg. Mr. Lamb instills confidence in little Derry by saying that a person's deeds decide his handsomeness and not his looks. He persuades Derry to stop hating people and accept life happily. By the end of the play, Mr. Lamb dies, but we found Derry a changed boy. Now come to question number 5. In question number 5, you see, how do people comment so painfully about Derry's face and why? কিয় মানুহে ডেৰীৰ মুখমণ্ডলক কি কৰিছিল, খুব পেইনফুলি মানে খুব বিষাদভাৱে কিয় কি কমেণ্ট কৰিছিল মত, আৰু কিয় কেনেকৈ আৰু কিয় মত কৰি কি কৰিছিল, কমেণ্ট কৰিছিল. People comment so painfully about Derry's face because half of his face was burned by acid. People say that his face looks terrible and it is the ugliest thing they have ever seen. They sympathize with him, calling him a poor boy who can never get any success in life because of his ugly face. Even his mother kisses him on the unburned side of his face. Now come to question number 6. Mr. Lamb says to Derry, if all relative beauty and beast. What does he mean by that? মানে মিস্টার ল্যামে ডেরিক কয়, ইফ অল রিলেটিভ সকলো কি, যদি সকলো কি হয়, ৰিলেটিভ হয়, আত্মীয় হয়, বিউটি এণ্ড বিষ্ট, বিউটি আৰু বিষ্ট হ'ব, এইটো কৈছে. হোৱাট ডাজ হি মিন বাই দ্যাট? এই কথাষাৰৰ দ্বাৰা মিষ্টাৰ ল্যাম সেজ টু ডেৰী, ইফ অল ৰিলেটিভ বিউটি এণ্ড দ্য বিষ্ট, ইয়াৰ দ্বাৰা কি বুজাব খুজিছে? By the quoted line, Mr. Lamb means that the description of beauty depends upon individual perception. People have different viewpoints when looking at the same thing. A thing may be beautiful for one while it may be ugly for the other. However, it is the beauty of our deeds and actions that matter the most. Now come to question number 7. In question number 7, you see, how do people comment when they see Mr. Lamb? How does he react to it? যেতিয়া মানুহে মিষ্টাৰ লেমক দেখা পাইছিল তেতিয়া সিহঁতে কি কমেণ্ট কৰিছিল বা কি কৈছিল? হাউ ডাজ হি ৰিয়েক্ট টু ইট? ইয়াক তেওঁ কেনেকৈ প্ৰতিক্ৰিয়া প্ৰকাশ কৰিছিল? আনচাৰ, মিষ্টাৰ লেম had one of his legs blown off in a wire and it was replaced by a leg of tin. So, children make fun of him, calling him Lammy Lamb. Mr. Lamb doesn't react adversely to such comment. In fact, he welcomes the same children warmly when they came to play in his garden. Now come to 8. How does Mr. Lamb react when he sees Derry entering his garden? যেতিয়া ডেৰিয়ে তেওঁৰ গাৰ্ডেনত সোমাইছিল তেতিয়া মিষ্টাৰ লেমে কি ৰিয়েক্ট কৰিছিল, কি প্ৰতিক্ৰিয়া প্ৰকাশ কৰিছিল? When Mr. Lamb sees Derry entered his garden by climbing over the wall, he calls out and cautions Derry to mind the crab apples because he may trip over them. Now come to question number 9. This is also a long question. What impression do you form of Mr. Lamb? How does he look at life? Or draw a sketch character of Mr. Lamb. Mr. Lambৰ এটা কি কৰিছে, চৰিত্ৰ বৰ্ণনা কৰিব দিছে। নাইবা হোৱাট ইম্প্ৰেশ্যন ডু ইউ ফৰ্ম অফ মিষ্টাৰ লেম্ব, মিষ্টাৰ ইম্প্ৰেশ্যনটো কি কৰিবা মিষ্টাৰ লেম্বৰ গঠন হিচাপে। হাউ ডাজ হি লুক এট লাইফ, জীৱনত তেওঁ কেনেকুৱা দেখা গৈছিল? আনচাৰ, মিষ্টাৰ লেম্ব ইজ এন অল্ড মেন হু লিভছ ইন এ লাৰ্জ হাউচ উইথ এ গাৰ্ডেন অল এলোন. One of his legs was blown off in a wire, so children called him Lammy Lamb. He spends his time reading books, listening to the sound of the wind and making jelly from the crab apples. Although handicapped by one leg, he has a very positive attitude towards life. He doesn't shy away from people, rather he likes to have company and he is never deterred by the adverse comments that people make about his thin leg. Mr. Lamb instills confidence in little Derry by saying that a person's deed decides his handsomeness and not his looks. He persuades Derry to stop hating people and accept life happily. By the end of the play, Mr. Lamb dies, but we found Derry as a saved boy. So this is answer of question number 9. This is long question. Now come to another long question, that is question number 10. Why doesn't Derry like being with people? What does it reflect on the society? ইয়াতে কৈছে why doesn't Derry like being with people? Derry মানুহৰ সৈতে কেনেকুৱা বা মানুহৰ সৈতে কেনেকুৱাকৈ পচন্দ কৰিছিল? What does it reflect on his society? এইটোৱে ছ'চাইটিৰ ওপৰত, সমাজৰ ওপৰত কি প্ৰতিফলিত কৰিছিল, ৰিফ্লেক্ট কৰিছিল? Answer, people comment so painfully about Derry's face because half of his face was burned by acid. People say that his face looks terrible and it is the ugliest thing they have ever seen. They sympathize with him, calling him a poor boy who can never get any success in life because of his ugly face. Even his mother kisses him on the unburned side of his face. All this have made Derry withdrawn and defiant, and he doesn't like people's company. The next part, the reaction of people on Derry's face says much about the outlook of our society on physical disability. The actual pain caused by a physical impairment is often much less than the sense of alienation felt by disabled people. Our society doesn't accept such people wholeheartedly. Rather, it shows pity on the handicapped persons, which makes them feel worse. We should show compassion, love, and fellow feeling for such disabled people, which may help them to cope with them. Now come to question number 11. এটাও এটা কি? This is also a long question. Why did Mr. Lamb's meeting with Derry become the turning point in Derry's life? মিষ্টাৰ লেমৰ সৈতে সাক্ষাৎ হোৱাটো ডেৰীৰ জীৱনৰ এটা টাৰ্ণিং পইণ্ট বুলি কিয় কোৱা হয়? আনচাৰ: দ্য প্লে অন দ্য ফেচ অফ ইট ফিচাৰ্ছ দ্য মিটিং of the 14 years old boy Derry meeting with an old man named Mr. Lamb, and how the meeting became the turning point of Derry's life. Half of Derry's face was burned because of the acid which had fallen on his face. It had created an inferiority complex in the young boy, who knew that people were horrified to see his face and passed uncharitable comments on him. Even his mother kissed him on the unburned side of his face. All this had made Derry withdrawn and defiant. Now come to the next part. Derry's meeting with Mr. Lamb had brought about a nice change in his attitude. He saw that Mr. Lamb, in spite of being handicapped like him, had a very positive attitude towards life. He didn't shy away from people, rather he liked people's company and was never deterred by the adverse comments made by the people about his intellect. Mr. Lamb instilled confidence in little Derry by saying that people did decide his handsomeness and not his look. He even persuaded Derry to stop hating people and accept the life happily. By the end of the play, Mr. Lamb died, but we found Derry as a changed boy. Now come to question number 12. It is also a long question. You fell. I am here, Mr. Lamb. It's all right. What is the significance of the quoted line? Elaborate. ইয়াতে তোমালোকে চোৱাচোন. Mr. Lamb brought about a drastic change in Derry's life. He turned Derry into a confident boy from a complex one. Both were physically handicapped, but with a different perspective towards life. In the beginning, Derry was a defiant and withdrawn boy who hated meeting people. Their stares, gibes, and pity made him frustrated. He had to face a lot of humiliation due to his burnt face, and as a result developed a pessimistic view towards life. Mr. Lamb transformed his vision to life and infuses to life on his own terms and conditions. Mr. Lamb discussed his own life with Derry to make him understand that he should be open minded. He told him that God has made all the things, be it a flower or wheat. One should not confine oneself in a room forever. He also kept his garden gate open and welcomed all. Moreover, Derry could open such the layers of his heart and complexes in front of Mr. Lamb, which unburdened his heart. He got a new ray of hope in his life. The light of light entitled enlightened his soul to live as it was. He was taught daily to use whatever God had given him. The lesson taught by Mr. Lamb transformed the transformed very transformed dairy completely. Now come to question number 13. In which section of the play does Mr. Lamb display signs of loneliness and disappointment? What are the ways in which Mr. Lamb tries to overcome these feelings? So, answer. It is the middle section of the first scene of the play that Mr. Lamb displays signs of loneliness and disappointment. He says that when it is a bit cooler, he will saying that he will sorry, এটা তোমালোকৰ অলপ এৰি গৈছিলোঁ বা আকৌ কৈছোঁ. He says that when it is a bit cooler, he will get the ladder and a stick and pull down those crab apples. When Derry goes away, saying that he will come back, Mr. Lamb says to himself, everyone says, since I will come back, but they never do. None of them ever come back. These shots show Mr. Lamb's loneliness and disappointment, but he tries to overcome these feelings by watching, listening, and thinking. He makes jelly. Terry could help him. Then he says he is interested in anybody or anything that God made. It may be a person, flower, fruit, grass, weeds, or rubbish. There are plenty of things to look at. Some of them are his crab apples, or the weeds, or a spider climbing up a silken ladder, or his tall sunflowers. He also likes to talk and have a company. He has a heap of bees. He hears them singing. He sits in the sun and reads books. He likes the light and the darkness. He hears the wind coming through open windows. There are not any curtains at the windows as they either shut things out or shut things in. These are the ways in which Mr. Lamb tries to overcome his loneliness. Now come to question number 14. 14 also a long question. You see, the actual pain or inconvenience caused by a physical impairment is often much less than the sense of alienation felt by the person with disabilities. What is the kind of behavior that the person expresses from others? Answer: the play on the face of it focuses our attention on the physical pain and mental anguish of the person suffering from some physical impairment. The playwright Susan Hill present the two leading character, an old man and a small boy, having different sorts of physical disabilities. The old man has thin leg. It did hurt him when it came off. Then he got used to it. He feels pain now and then. It wet weather. He finds it inconvenient to run, to climb a tree or a ladder. He lives all alone in a big house with garden. The boy has one side of his face badly burned by acid. He felt the physical pain then. After discharge from hospital, he feels hurt at the attitude of the people. They regard his face as horrible and ugly, show signs of being scared, and avoid his presence. In short, he is disliked, if not hated. He is not accepted as an ordinary member of society, so he does not like people to look at him. It is clear that the sense of alienation that these disabled persons feel causes them constant pain. Such persons expect kind and considerate behavior from others. They do not want tears, sympathy, or pity. They dislike being pointed at, nicknamed, mocked at, or made a fun of. They only demand a reasonable behavior from others, full of appreciation of their difficulties. Derry will not get back to his old seclusion. He has been associated with Mr. Lamb for a short time only, but even this brief association will affect a change in his kind of life he will lead in future. Instead of being conscious of what people comments our the people comments about the ugliness of his face, he will use his head and heart to achieve what he decides to achieve in life. It is also possible that with his firm determination and zeal to achieve his aim. He might do better than the rest, even those who do not suffer from any physical impairment. By his persuasive manner and skillful use of anecdotes, Mr. Lamb convinced Derry that a life of seclusion and withdrawal from world is dull as well as risky. The world has many beautiful objects to see and admire, sound to hear, and ideas to think. One should have an open mind. One should have an open mind and a positive attitude. Hatred is worse than acid. Derry's mother tries her best to keep Derry with her, but Derry resolves to go back to Mr. Lamb to look at things and listen to him. He no longer cares about his face, what the thing he thinks and feels, and what he wants to see and find out, and here is more important. He does not want to remain at his home. He has got clear perception of things. If he does not go back there, he will never go anywhere in that world again. In short, Derry's coming back to Mr. Lamb is indicative of the sense in the kind of life he is likely to lead in future. এতিয়া মই তোমালোকৰ আগত কুৱেশ্যন নম্বৰ 15টো আলোচনা কৰিম। কুৱেশ্যন নম্বৰ 15ত কোৱা হৈছে, হাউ ডাজ ডেৰী ইণ্টাৰপ্ৰিট দ্য ফেৰী story Beauty and the Beast? What does he feel about himself? Derry says that he has been told that story before. এইটো তোমালোকে চাই লোৱা, এইটো চাই লোৱা। অ'কে, এতিয়া now come to question number 16. This is also a long question. Justify the title on the face of it. অ'কে, তোমালোকে চাই যোৱা আৰু লগে লগে স্ক্ৰীনশ্বট মাৰি তোমালোকে ঘৰত পঢ়িব পাৰিবা। মই এইখিনিলৈ দিছোঁ। Okay, now come to the last part. Okay, now come to the question number 17. 17 to তোমালোকে long question screenshot মাৰি লোৱা। Okay, to 17 now come to question number 18. What is on the face of it about? On the face of it about কিহৰ বিষয়ে বৰ্ণনা? The play on the face of it by Susan Hill depicts the loneliness and the sense of alienation experienced by people on account of some physical deformity. It also teaches us how to overcome this sense of alienation by positive thinking, perseverance and determination. It also gives us an insight into how appearances are deceptive. Now come to the last question of this video, that is question number 19. Why did Mr. Lamb cite the example of the man who locked himself in a room? Mr. Lamb cited the example of the man who locked himself up in the room because he was scared of everything, in order to show that alienation can never be a solution. This man was so scared that he never left his room. But as luck would have it, a picture from the wall fell on his head, killing him instantly. He told this to Derry, who said he did not like being with people. Mr. Lamb convinced him that avoiding a situation would not make it disappear. Derry has to face the world and accept in turn. The whole world will accept him as he is. So this is all about the today's videos. আজিৰ এই দীঘল ভিডিঅ'টো নিশ্চয় তোমালোকৰ অহা পৰীক্ষাত সহায় কৰিব। Thank you for watching.